My name is Gabriel Yurko, and I'm from Christ the King Parish in Ann Arbor. Really the theme of my story, I would have to say, would be trust. From a very early age, I had a number of fantastic priest heroes in my life. Great men of God, great strong men that I look up to, from my parish priest, Father Ed, to Father Nicholas, the school chaplain, to Father Pat, who was a family friend, and to the many other priests that my family knew. And from really second, third grade, I was able to look to these men through different opportunities of serving and different things I was able to do in the church. I was able to look to them, and I saw something there that I wanted. I saw something that they had. And so from very early on, if you would have asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, priesthood would have been right at the top of the list. One of the things, though, was that I then, through that, put it basically on the level of really any other career option. It was right up there with playing in the NHL and being a paleontologist and other things like that. And so going through school, I had this in mind, but it was just there as another sort of option. And then the problem was, as I got older and as I started to see the ways of the world a little bit more, you could say, I guess, I started to see that, well, the priesthood lacked, some of the fame, some of the glory, especially of, playing in the NHL, and it lacked, a lot of the really exciting things to do in life, like if I was a paleontologist. And so I saw these other career options and some of my skills and the way those fit in, and I said, you know what? And a lot of this was just, slowly, but I came to the point through middle school and into the start of high school where I sort of had put priesthood on the back burner. I sort of said, no, this is something, it doesn't really look like the kind of career that I want. That's not, I think I could have a lot more fun. I could do a lot more cool things if I did something else. So I sort of put it to the back, and I, went through school. And really, I really didn't trust that God was going to, point me the way the way He wanted me to go. I really didn't trust that He had that plan for me, even though I had heard it 100 times. So I went through, and it was then slowly during my junior year that He started to reach into my life in different ways and affect that. It started very slowly, but it started when I was on retreat my junior year. I went to Father Gabe Richard High School in Ann Arbor, and we had the Kairos retreat at Richard. And I ended up being selected to be a junior leader. So I would go as a junior, and then I would lead my senior year. And this was an honor. And it was something I sort of didn't quite want it at first for some of those same reasons. It was something, I didn't want to be branded as somebody who was just going to go out there and, lead the retreats and that sort of thing. But I decided to submit my name, and I was selected, and I went on this retreat. And it was through several of the things that happened on this retreat, and then through the next really year, some of the other retreats I went on. I went to a number of different places, both through my youth group at Christ the King. I did a few things then with that Kairos group. There was another youth group that I was a part of. But then also, all of a sudden, starting to have the ears open. And I started, probably the first thing that I did start to learn, even if I didn't realize I was learning it, was that trust. Learning to trust that God did love me. Learning to trust that, He had an interest in my life, what I did with my life. And it wasn't, I went from, at first, having sort of this idea of, God has this plan because He's trying to, save the world. And so, I'm just going to have to fit into this plan somehow. And, well, I guess I will if that's what God wants. And slowly, very slowly, much slower than I realized, or much so slowly that I didn't really realize what was going on, I slowly came to that understanding through just the small steps of, yes, He loves me. He has a plan for my life. And it's not just that, I'm going to fit into this bigger machine, but that He has something that He loves me so much that this plan is going to be what's really going to be the best for me, and whatever that might be. And so as I went on through this, it was towards the end of that time, sort of the end of my junior year, the summer, that I really started to embrace this. And I said, okay, Lord, I want whatever You want. Just make that will known to me. And so I had come to that point of trust. I thought. I wish I had completely come to that point. But the good, I had come that far. And so then started my senior year, and I started applying to schools. And so I knew that, back when I was much younger, that I had, seen the priesthood as something that I might want. So I decided to leave that option open. And I talked to some of the different priests and that sort of thing. But still, I said, Lord, I want to do your will. I just hope that it's what my will is. And so I also applied to my dream school, the University of Michigan, and where all my family's gone, and I had everything set up, and I was really excited to go there, talking to my friends. Through the year, I ended up then I led the Kairos retreat, and I had been accepted to Michigan, and things seemed to be going very well. I seemed, yeah, Lord, just what your will is, but I hope that's my will. I hope that your will follows my will. And so then I got towards the end of the year, and it was just a couple weeks before I had to make the final decision. And I had scheduled some visits, both with the bishop and to St. John Vianney. And so that visit was coming up, and I was planning on going to spring break in Mexico to do a mission trip there, and really looking forward to that. Then they called us into the office and they said, we're sorry, but because of some of the drug wars that are going on in Mexico, we're going to have to cancel your trip. And I was really disappointed. This was all of a sudden, my spring break plans are, dashed to bits. I wasn't really able to, salvage anything. So here I was going to be stuck alone. Basically, everybody else on the trip, most of them were able to find other stuff to do. Most of my friends had already had other plans and couldn't really figure anything out. And I still had this trip coming up to St. John Vianney. And I said, okay, you know what, Lord? I think I get the hint. I think I see that you want me to take this decision seriously right now. And I knew that, it wasn't like, whatever the decision was, there was still plenty of time for God to work whatever He wanted. But I really decided in that time to actually finally trust God, to really lay myself down, to say, God, I'm gonna go visit, and then I'm just going to spend that time over spring break, which was basically the following 8-9 days after that. I'm going to spend this time really just paying attention to you, whether that's going to be through going to daily Mass, or I took a number of holy hours here at our 24-hour Adoration Chapel. And I really offered that time up to God, and I went on my visit, and it went very well, but I didn't have any lightning bolts come in or anything like that. And then I started out that week, and it started very slow, and I was still a little bit angry that I wasn't able to do the Mexico mission trip. But really, as that time went on, and as I was able to really examine where I was at, what the seminary was, and these calls, these different threads throughout my life, and realized that God did have this plan for me, and that He had been pointing me in this direction, and that when I realized that, all of a sudden I felt this enormous peace and joy in that call to the seminary. And that was something that I hadn't really realized before, in a large part because I had been sort of shielding that out and trying to not address that question. And so as I made that decision, I talked to the Vocations director, Father Jerry, and signed up. And I then went to seminary and have been going to seminary ever since, and I'm now in the middle of my third year. And it has been fantastic. It has not always been the easiest thing in the world. Many semesters, sometimes it'll be the classes, sometimes it'll be the rigorous schedule. Sometimes, just things don't seem to go right. Sometimes it's just like, God, this has been tough. I need to do something else. But through the whole time, and it's been through even the smallest things, such as, God, I see that, that there's my brother here that I need to, talk to and see how he's doing. But at the same time, I've got homework to the big things of, God, what am I going to do this summer? What am I going to do next year? What classes should I take? Really, the whole range of things has continued to be that same message of trust.